I basically told everybody I wanted to be a woman when I was 4. And I thought naturally that you could just grow up and become a woman. I didn't know about drag queens. I didn't know about transsexuals. I didn't know about anything that was different from what I saw. And my family basically thought it was just silliness and thought I was just a little kid that didn't know, what they were talking about or whatever. For me, the easiest identifier in knowing that I was transgender was actually very strange because I identified with spiritual principles that were more commonly found to be important to women than I did to men. I never really identified, with a lot of male principles. I always identified with female principles. I always identified with female role models. And as I grew up and as I developed, I realized that everything I liked was pretty much female. I really didn't like anything that was male. And it's like people a lot of times are afraid of what they don't understand. But I really think that, being transgender is about being an individual that is free and clear of any type of expected norm when it comes to your assigned birth sex. When I was growing up, it was so weird because I was always told how attractive I was, and I was always told certain things about being handsome and the things I could do really well. And when I transitioned, it's like my parents really didn't know what to say. I remember my dad told me that I was attractive, but my dad told me I looked like a prostitute. And so, being on my journey all this time, I think every woman has had that moment when their mother or their father tells them that they're beautiful. And I never heard that until probably about, I would say, a good 2 or 3 months ago. So it took my mother 3 years to say it. And my mother told me, she said, you're just so beautiful. And when she said it to me, it made me cry. And the reason it made me cry was because it validated everything that was missing. I remember, running around and playing with other kids. And I remember not only my father stopped me, but other people stopped me and saying, little boys don't play like that, or little boys don't walk like that. I remember my dad telling me, little boys don't talk like that. I would prefer, to have been born, I think 100% biological as far as female, but then I think about how even transition has been such a character building experience. It has taught me so much about myself. It's taught me so much about how life really is. It's taught me so much about how people really are. And how can you trade in, the factor or the thing that has made you who you are? A lot of times I'll tell people that I feel like a unicorn. I feel very special. And everybody knows that unicorns are mythological creatures or whatever. But I don't know. It's something about being a different type of girl. It's something about, knowing that when you accept yourself and you've allowed yourself to go through certain transitions, that even if nobody else thinks that you are, woman enough or pretty enough or whatever, you're able to look at yourself and still see the woman that you knew was there. And, I think that every woman should learn that, because if you don't do that for yourself, honey, you're in trouble.